show you now how to create a performance dashboard. A performance dashboard is a performance management tool that you use in hiring, and you can use it to manage performance. It's the top 3 to 5 priorities in the job. And I'm going to give you a real life example. This is a technology company who had 10 people in the role of technical manager, had received a cash infusion and were growing, and they were getting ready to hire over the coming year 5 more technical managers. So their priorities were: 1, hire the right people, put the right people in the right seats. 2, do a really good job of onboarding so they don't lose the good people that they hired. And 3rd, clarify expectations on the job so that they can up-level the performance of the current technical managers. So in the process of creating a dashboard, there are 3 steps, R.P.M, and I'll go through those steps with you. And for this company, what we did to create the dashboard is we had 6 subject matter experts from the company, people who had a vested interest in the success of the position, help create the dashboard. You don't have to have a group and have a team facilitation like I'm getting ready to describe to use the tool. You can use the tool one-on-one. I work with managers over the phone to help them clarify expectations before they express them or try to share them with an employee when they're trying to improve performance. So it can be a tool that you just do by yourself to create the expectations for a job and make sure you're clear about the performance expectations. So I'll go through the process. I'll talk to you about it through as though it's a team and it's a 6 subject matter experts. Just remember, you can do it on your own. You don't have to have a group or a meeting. The facilitation meeting for this particular team took about 30 to 45 minutes. It doesn't take very long, but sometimes when you get a group together, there's good discussion that develops around the position. And every time I've done one of these with a team, they come in kind of okay that they're there at the meeting, and by the time we finish, they're very happy that we've done the dashboard process because they've got more clarity about the position. Everybody is on the same page, and there's a lot of good discussion that comes out of the process. So I'm holding some post-it notes, and the first step in the process is to respond and brainstorm answers to 2 questions. And so I ask the questions, and I have people put their answers on these post-it notes with a marker. And the question is, what must happen in the job in order to have superior performance? Or said negatively, which sometimes works, it helps you come up with ideas easier, is if this doesn't happen, the job has failed. So you ask the subject matter experts to answer those questions. They put 1 answer per post-it note, and they just headline the answer, and then they prioritize 1, 2, 3, what their favorite answer is. They write down their top 3, and then they share their number 1 answer first. And so you have everybody go around once and share their number 1, then they share their number 2, and they share their number 3. So the first step is respond and brainstorm answers to the question. If this doesn't happen, the job has failed. So this is a bit what it would look like. There is the first step in the process of the dashboard, to respond and brainstorm. And the questions, people fill out a headline and explain and discuss why they rated that item number 1 in the job. So we have some good discussion there. The second step is to place the items into categories and then prioritize them. So here, as they're giving me their answers, I say, okay, we're going to put this here. Does that answer now, our second answer, go with this category, or is it to create a category by itself? So as you see, now we're starting to get different categories, and you'd have more post-it notes than this probably. But the same thing, if you're doing this on your own, you think about what must happen in the job or the job has failed. You write down your answers. You place them in categories, what sits together, and then from there, you take the categories and you create headlines for each of the categories. And then you prioritize them. So here is for the technical manager. This is the dashboard. This is the number 1 priority, number 2, and onward. Okay, so that is the dashboard for the technical manager. The third step in the process is to provide measurements, R.P.M. So that's the M part. And when you're using it for onboarding, what they would do is they put particular measurements for each area and let the new employee know, this is what we're going to be focusing on. What it does for the new employee is it allows them to know what the number 1 priority is, so they can focus there and maybe not get caught up in other things that aren't a top priority. And for the seasoned people who are in the job, their metrics, each person may have different measurements based on what's happening in their role, what their development opportunities are, but they're always united or tied to the priorities in the job. And the way you know you have the right priorities is before you leave the meeting, you ask everyone this litmus test. If this doesn't happen in the job, has the job failed? So the litmus test, if this doesn't happen in the job, has the job failed? Have everybody talk about it. If this doesn't happen, has the job failed? And then if they say yes, definitely that is correct, and then you have the right dashboard. So as I mentioned, this company was hiring 5 new people over the coming year. So what we did with the dashboard in the hiring piece of the puzzle is they used the dashboard to have in front of them as they were answering online questions about a job quiz. And this is a patented process that I offer called Trimetrics. And so each individual subject matter expert completed a quiz about the job, and they used the dashboard to stay clear on what the priorities are so that everybody is focusing similarly around what's important for success in the job as they're answering the questions on the job quiz. What happens is those results are compiled into a benchmark report, which is basically a template for hiring. It tells you what the top competencies and personal skills are for the job, and it also gives your interview team interview questions. So what this does is just focus the interview on the areas that are most important for superior performance so that you're making sure you get the job fit. And then what happened with that company is they used that for their interviewing process. When they had their top candidates, the candidates took an assessment, and it's a candidate assessment, of course, and they were matched to the job quiz, and there's a 1-page gap report that comes out and lets you know this is where the person matched your benchmark and this is where they didn't. So you get additional insight around fit, and you can go back and follow up on those areas that didn't match and have another level of comfort and more data around whether the person is a fit or not. I will have copies of these 2 documents on the page, pricelessprofessional.com/dashboard, and you can look at those if you want to see more clearly what's covered there. Now, you don't have to have a job quiz or have an assessment like that in order to use the dashboard in the hiring process. I cover in my book, How to Hire Superior Performers, a process for picking the competencies for the job and picking the top motivators in the style. And so you can go through that process. The very first step in the hiring process that I teach is to create the dashboard. And now you know how to do it. Go to pricelessprofessional.com/dashboard, all lowercase, to get more information. Thanks.